you me? I'm a forever. I got that word. Can you me? Oh, I got that word. I got that word. Dagan na etwa. I got that word. Ewe etwa. I got that word. Dagan na etwa. I got that word. Etwa. Dagan na etwa. I got that word. My boy, you will when you get it. The man went dog a lot with me. Oh, you got that way. That bad, the man at the power. Away, can you be a man for a joy? Magapita, I'm back my leg, Guanga, I'm back a book for day. I'm back a well a friend I joy. Ganga, I'm back for a gag. My new brother to a cutting of a gag. Make out the galactic. Dogan one, who got that bird. Dogan who got two, who got that bird. Can you be a man for a joy? Who got that bird? Can you be a Galactica? Who got that bird? Dogan one, who got that bird? Away, who got that bird?
Jimmy. Love the fish, we get them every day. In Jimmy, around the water side. Love the fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bunga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. So if you wanna get your bunga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. Kinji me bunga sweet, kinji me bunga sweet.
Good evening, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. I want to thank you all for tuning in again this evening. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful show here as usual. I want to thank all of you again for tuning in. We say thank you very much. Let's have a wonderful, wonderful show. Okay, let's have a wonderful, wonderful show. So safety, Lord Jesus. We want to thank you again this evening. We want to thank you for this wonderful, wonderful Friday evening. Thank you, my Lord. We ask you to protect all of our brothers and sisters that are on the road, driving, flying, everywhere they are tonight on this Friday, wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon. Lord, we put their lives and everything else they do in your hands. Only through you that everything is possible. My Lord, you know our brothers and sisters will be gathering all over the country again, all over the diaspora. Liberian will be all over, visiting family members and everything else. Those who are driving, my Lord, we put their lives in your hands. And those who are at home as well, we put their lives in your hands. Lord, we ask you to continue to provide a blanket of protection that you have provided and continue to provide. We want to say thank you. Only you can do that. No man on earth that will be able to provide that kinds of protection for this long. It is because you are working tirelessly that we stay here. And we want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you, my Lord. Thank you. Thank you. You guide all of us, bad, good, ugly, everybody. We're in your hands. Only you. Can you imagine if somebody else was in control of what I do? My goodness. God, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Every day that I get up, I say thank you. I go to bed, I say thank you. Because only you. My Lord, we ask you to bless the country, the Republic of Liberia. We ask you, my Lord, to bless the leadership of the Republic of Liberia. Bless the host country, the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you. Good evening, folks. Samson Tour here again tonight, and I'm going to be all over this place as usual. But there's something serious here that is happening, and I'm not too sure what exactly this is, but it's very concerning to me when I read that headline on Front Page Africa this morning. The headline that goes, a possibility of election delay. Possibility of election delay. I'm not too sure how truthful that's going to be, but we pray that we don't even come close to that. We pray that those who are responsible to have this thing fixed, to fix it now. Fix it. We don't want anybody else to blame anyone else. Another thing I came across, and I'll be talking about that. There are many Liberians now that are going around, in as much as some of us don't like, not supporters of CDC, but they are now not just attacking sedition or CDC based on his poor performance, and the president of the Republic of Liberia based on his poor performance, which I say fine, but instead, these people are now going around and attacking the entire Southeastern. What sense does it make? You think you're the only people able to rule Liberia? What's wrong with you? Without the support of Southeastern, where you're able to go at? You're able to go anywhere? Mozzarella County. Grandma, we're all in this together. Why are you guys coming around attacking Southeastern? If the president select people from the Southeast, does it mean that all Southeastern are in support of that? And you guys are unable to distinguish, to try to separate those who are supporters of this president and this government from the Southeast. Those who the president appoint that are from the Southeast are now all this. But you're that's it. You're not easy. You're quick to forget. You're quick to forget. When it happened to you, you say, "Oh, why you all say everybody the same?" But when you're ready for the Southeastern, they'll say all Southeastern. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So the president, you don't want the president to be successful. I am against this government. Not that I don't want it to succeed, but I definitely, if I was in Liberia and have the opportunity to vote, I'm not going to vote for this government because of the economic issues that they continue to have, because of all of the corrupt behavior that are emerging from this government. Yes, but to say that this government has not employed any other person except for Southeasterner, and like specifically people are naming the crown people. How many crown people in the government you know? How many crown men or crown women from Grand Gita County that are part of this government that you know? Why you always do that kind of thing? You want me to open my mouth again? And they'll say, "Oh, they may defend you." Yeah, of course, it's my county. I'm from Grand Gita. Why will you come out and make such a ridiculous statement? For what reason? For what reason? For what reason? So how you think these people, these presidential candidates that are running and that are not from the Southeast, how you think they're going to win the election without the participation of Southeasterners? Is that what you believe? I think you're supposed to be someone who are considered an educated person. But for you to sit there and make these kinds of statements, then I sometimes I question your motives. I sometimes question. I like you still. I like you as a human being, but then I question your integrity. This is something that is a completely. It caught me off guard when I heard this person speaking like that. You want to go after this government? Go after it. McGill didn't. He's not from the Southeast. Those are real high players. People who move this government. They're not from Southeast. Samuel Twice, yeah, okay. So you can name them. But how many of them, when you ask them right now, take for example Samuel Twice, you take him back to the Southeast, he can't even find a way to where he used to be. The people are not there from there in the name only. They are not part of Southeastern anymore. They're considering themselves Maria boys or Maria girls. So why will you come out and say Southeastern, Grebo, Crew, Crown? Are you serious? Are you serious? Anyway, I'm just saying, I hope that the political parties and everyone else that are involved, I hope they don't listen to you. Let me put this other one up. Let me put it up. And this is, let me put this up. Let me put this up. And we will say, let me put it, why am I not? And we will take this opportunity now to say congratulations to Dr. Toto. You have done a wonderful job on all of us as Liberians. I'm very proud of you, young man. You came in this country and decided to educate yourself and go to the highest level of education, and you have achieved that. I want to say here again, thank you. Thank you. When you're successful, Liberia is successful. Thank you. Thank you once again for you young Liberians continue to put Liberia on the map. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate all your hard work. I know. Most likely, I don't know. My big mouth say I know. I don't know. But most likely, it was a difficult thing to do. And I even finished high school. My elementary school, I was catching hard time. I can't write, I can't spell, I can't do anything. But for you to leave from elementary, wait, let me see. Let go step by step. It went from primary 1 to primary 2. George Toto. That before the doctor, I can call you George Toto. Yeah, you don't read doctor here from you. I can call you George Toto. Yeah. So yeah, George Toto passed from primary 1 to primary 2. Oh, George Toto from primary 2 to primary. Wow. They Toto boy, yeah, something else. Not easy. Then George Toto from primary to elementary. I don't know, primary, elementary, whatever it is. They're the same, so be it. Who cares? Then he went from there to high school. Then he went high school to college. Then he went second degree. PhD, Dr. Toto. We really appreciate it, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a wonderful thing, and we really appreciate it. Let me bring in another highly educated young man who is here, up here as usual. Let me bring him in here. I mean, that man, he knows so much book. I don't even know that. Well, am I surprised? Am I surprised? The man from Lofa County. Why would he not know book? Why would he? You from Lofa County, you know, but then we'll ask you, what happened? What happened? But if you're from Lofa County, you know book, we say, that's what we want, that's what we know of you. That's what y'all do. You have to know both people. That's not both people. But let me bring this young man in. Highly educated as well. Let me bring him in. Says good evening to you, sir.
How are you doing, man? I'm at a workshop and I had to cut my workshop short to come on. So how you doing?
Thank you. I hope Jay will join us here very shortly. And
Jay, enjoying yourself right now. They're getting ready to raise. I think it's $5.8 million. The new thing they're trying to raise with Cummins right now. So I think Jay.
Well, why would they raise that? Cummins alone
Jay
raise that?
trying to pledge. I think he pledged $300,000.
Who did?
Jay.
Oh, he pledged 300,000. My goodness! I better put myself. I better put a campaign up there to say I'm running. I have a patio.
Jay was so John when you hear me talking about 300,000.
I think you're really poking. He was so big Johnny here. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And how you been? How's your Friday?
My Friday is good. Got done teaching. I'm here at a hotel in St. Paul. Tomorrow I got a Education Minnesota Union workshop all day. So we're good. We're good. We keep the pressure going.
I see. But let me ask you this: are you a member of the Liberian Engineering Society here in the United States?
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Ain't you double E?
Yep, I am a member of IEEE.
Plenty over that place there. Myself, I supposed to be member of the Engineering Society for a very long time. I've been associating myself with them from time to time, but have almost 80% of them double E's.
I'm a member of the Institute of Electronics and Electrical Engineers, and then also the Black Engineering Association, Black Engineer Collectives. I didn't know they had a Liberian one. So.
Oh yeah, at one time the association was doing so good. I'm not too sure. Maybe they're still doing good, but I have not followed them for quite a while now. And they were in the process at one time trying to see if they can liaise with the Liberian Engineer Society in Liberia. But you do know about the Liberian Engineer Society.
Yeah, I know of the one.
And they were trying to liaise with them to see how best they can pull building codes together to help the Liberian contractors, construction groups, but I don't know how far that has gone. But those are things that I was hoping that because I attended the Liberian Engineering Society convention last year in Banga. Early this year in Banga. I was there, And it was wonderful. You know, you sit here out there, let me don't say you, but let me say me. I sit here, run my mouth and say, oh, the Liberian engineer, they don't know nothing, yeah, blah, blah, all kinds of. But boy, oh boy, was I surprised. And I had to eat crow on that one, because when I went there, these young people, when they open their mouth to talk about engineering, and some of the things that some of their experiences in terms of engineering work and what have you, it's unbelievable. But then the question is, why are they not applying that?
Well, here is the biggest problem with that, and I was just about to push you back on that. It's the theoretic part of engineering. Our people can go toe to toe with anybody in the world, but the practical aspect is missing. I've been in Liberia, and you'll be surprised people who have bachelor's degree in engineering, and you show them a semiconductor chip, they don't even know what it is. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
they are still studying on the old school giant transistors and resistors and stuff, and so you show them something that is a micro chip semiconductor. They can tell you where what is the resistors in there if they're not seeing those big. I don't know how long you've been, but when I too started here, we had those big resistors with a
right,
plug on the side this way.
right.
And the same thing they still got. So if you're still operating on a 1982, 1983 technology in engineering, you're way behind. So I think that is one of the biggest problems is that there are very good, very smart, very talented engineers in Liberia, theoretically, but they haven't been, and it's no fault of their own. They haven't been introduced to the actual technology, the current technology for them to
And this
work with.
and this is why I fault the Ministry of Public Works and those that are in charge. You would think that they will do all they can to bring Liberian engineers who have worked abroad to assign to say, okay, we're going to assign few engineers with you, so that at least you can show them what are some of the new technologies that are affecting people now. And what I mean, an engineer, once you tell them what it is, it won't take them long. But they're so proud, so their pride is unbelievable. I went, and we're just having conversation right now, publicly, that is. But I went home. When I went home, there's a project that I was supposed to be. I'm still hoping. Well, I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, I went to the Ministry of Public Works, and there was this young man. He seemed to be smart. In fact, he was also at the convention. He did some presentation on behalf, I believe, on behalf of the Public Work Ministry. Very smart. But when I had a conversation with him about this project, I quickly realized, just like you're saying, that they're very good on a book, but they don't understand the practical aspect of it. And when I tried to explain to him, there's certain criteria that in order for you to do a roadway design that will be considered standard, international standard, there's certain criteria that you have to follow. And basically, he just shut it down and said, we don't do it here. That's not how we do it. Well, the way you're doing it is wrong. So what I did was, the project that we were supposed to start with, and at a certain point, so we went there, way in the southeast. We went there and I took pictures of the bridge they had. It's so sad. The bridge they have bridge railing, and they have pretty much like a sidewalk. The railing is just a concrete rail, and they have like a sidewalk. The sidewalk itself, the curb of that sidewalk is 6 inch high. So if you're going to do that, and they brought it inward towards the road, another, say, the shoulder weight of 8 feet. So this bridge sidewalk sticking out on the road, 6 inches high. Okay,
Man.
so so I show him. I said, "What do you think wrong with this picture?" He said, "Nothing. We did it. I was on that project. That was a good one." I said, "Look at this again. What do you think of this?" Because if you're coming towards that bridge, driving, and God forbid, if your tire get cut onto that 6-inch high curb, you're gonna flip over. There's nothing to stop you.
Right into the water.
Nothing to stop you. So here, not that they don't have, they have similar situation like that back in the 80, 70, 60, 50, 60s. But what they're doing now, rectifying these bridges and stuff like that, is that they put in a concrete curb also, but taper it. So it's like a curved taper. So when you hit it, you're coming back on the road. You know, you're not gonna go over it. So I showed him that. So that's right there and there. That's one thing I like about my big mouth. So right there and there, I Google California, and I Google the bridge way over there in Ukiah. I mean Eureka that I work on. I say, you see this here? You see the problem right here? Now look at it fix. So, oh, well, we don't do it here. And that's what they do. If you look at if you've been to Montreal lately, when I was there a long time ago anyway, they used to have these holes. They considered, they're not drainage though.
No, they're not.
Supposed to be pipe that's supposed to run, some sort of a conduit that's supposed to run through them. But they fixed them, they build them on site with rebar sticking up. And sometimes they go like maybe 100 feet, 200 feet of rebar, no cap.
Yep.
By the schoolyard. Yep. And these kids will come and jump over that. And last year, another kid died when he fell from the coconut tree and has a hair piece. And I've been saying that thing over and over. And the quick fix, plenty over there. You take timber, put it over it, screw it on, and when somebody hit, they will break their ribs, but they're not going to get pierced by the steel. And that's the problem we have over there in Liberia.
Mr. Todo, Liberia is pretty new when it comes to infrastructural building, when it comes to engineering. So it makes no sense that we are making the mistakes that America made 50 years ago, right? Because it's not like California, Eureka, where they built those bridges before. Engineers came out and said, there's a new thing in engineering now. There's a new concept. We gotta build protectors on that. Liberia is starting anew, and that is a very good thing. So why are we still reading the 1980s, 1970 engineering textbook and still making the mistakes that America is now trying to correct? You know, we should be starting anew and doing what they're doing right now. The problem is that you got professors that are shortchanged and short-staffed and underpaid, and so they don't have access to the most recent theory or research in engineering. And so they are teaching what they know. And a lot of these professors, without disrespect, you know, graduated in the 80s and some of them in the 70s. And engineering concepts have changed. Mm-hmm. And I'm just telling you about, look, for example, when you talk to electrical engineers in Liberia, and you talk to the common Liberian person about electrical engineer, the first thing they think about, my man, you ought to put my light up in my house. No, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
I am an electrical engineer. Nowhere in my training, in my school, did I learn how to wire the house. That is not my thing. But when you talk to them about what engineering, what computer language are you using to code, and they go, what electrical engineering? I say, yeah, but that is all EE is about. It's coding. What are you doing? What language are you using? And they don't have that. And so for when Dell was still a company here, you call for support, you will call India. For a country like Liberia, that would have been a very good hub. Have we been training our engineers the right way? They'd be able to take a lot of these customer service calls from a lot of these technological technology companies here, and that would be a way to employ people in Liberia, but we're not doing it. And just, I think that was it the day before yesterday, there was a journalist who went along what's that new freeway, Somalia Drive freeway,
right?
And he was kind of documenting the drainage, how the drainage is now getting clogged because people are dumping waste, you know, in there. They're dumping the trash and they're clogging the drainage, and you can see the drainage is wide open. When it's wide open, people are going to throw stuff in it. You know, just to your point, if you can cover those things up, It's everywhere in the community. They build the roads, they build those things that they call drainages, but it's not, and they don't cover them. And so when it rains, those things get filled, the water comes out, and the kids are running in those things, they're playing in it, and they still have those rebars all in there.
Yes, yes, yes. But anyway, I thought we just talk about, we're just having conversation here. I'm not too sure why Jay is still not here.
I
And,
say
and
Jay
Mr.
trying to
Josh.
raise $300,000. You get me?
Oh, okay. I hope he tried to share with us here. But anyhow, let's go on. Cesar, thank you for joining us here this evening. And when we were on here the last time, I was talking about your you sympathize with Gonglo, and Gonglo had a piece on Front Page Africa where he was saying that he in as much as he doesn't like people saying that no one individual politician can defeat Dr. Weir, and which then made him like he's on he's unbeatable. And so he's saying that's not true. However, his thing was it will be good to have a collaboration going among the political parties. Are you familiar with that article?
Yep.
And what do you make of it? What do you think he was trying to convey? That is he now at a point of seeking help, or trying now to say he has gotten name recognition and therefore he want a suitable partner now to go with? And if so, is he saying that he's ready to go second to somebody else? What exactly is he saying?
I think there were a lot of things happening in that opinion that was expressed by the councillor. First of all, no, the councillor is not running second to anybody. The councillor did not enter this race to be a second wife, for just to translate that to all local traditional culture, to anybody. Yes, the councillor has always said that he's willing to work with Liberians from all sectors and all sides to see how they can be able to ensure that they remove this experiment, this political experiment in the CDC, and try to replace it with a serious set of people with serious ideas and agendas to move Liberia forward. But I would be remiss, and I think a lot of people who've been watching me here know me to be straightforward, if I didn't push back a little bit on my own guy that I support. Again, I do realize that he's human, and just because I support him doesn't mean we're going to agree 100% of the time. I mean, if we did that, then I would not be, it would not be logical. I think the councillor was trying to say that, look at me. If this were the West, if this were a country where we had true voter education and our people and our democracy was built on the bloodline of an intelligent and informed electorate, then I should be able to defeat George Weah in one term. Like here I am, and you put me down next to George Weah, and you make a comparison, apple to apple, orange to orange, plum to plum. You will see that I deserve to win on the first ballot. But sadly, though, I mean, he's a politician, I expect him to say that, but as an analyst, I don't think the math is there. I don't think the councillor looked at the math. It'll be very difficult for any one politician without the coalescing of the opposition bloc to have 15 political parties running against an incumbent. You cannot defeat that incumbent in the first round. But I think the councillor was speaking to something much higher to say if the implication was that if we can educate our people, if we can have an educated populace, a civic-minded electorate, then comparing plum to plum, me and George Weah, me and the pastor, the Right Reverend, the Dr. George Weah, then I will come up on top in the first ballot. But we're in Liberia, and I'm not going to say sadly, because if I say that, I will be disrespecting my people in Liberia. We're in Liberia, and the political machinations in Liberia are different. The factors are different. The calculus is different. And so I think the councillor Yes, as a politician, we speak the way he spoke, but I, as an analyst, would say no. It is not possible for anyone. I don't even care if it is Cummings coming with a Tier 1 Gonglo, which would be a ticket in heaven. I don't think they will even win on the first ballot because it's just difficult if you have a bunch of political parties running, and beyond that, you're running against an incumbent. I mean, we have to be realistic on that. But the counselor has said that his doors are open. So even if your papi wants to come, we will honor him, we will respect him. He's an elderly statesman. We are willing for him to come and be an advisor to the campaign, to the Tier 1 Gonglo campaign. I'm talking Dr. Former Vice President, my uncle Joseph Boakai now.
I see. Okay, well, I mean, I'm going to say this here. I've already I made my point clear the other night that Councillor Gonglo will do well by coming to Dr. Bakai because going over with Cummings, my argument, but I got pushed by so hard by the two gentlemen, Mr. George and Jonathan.
I watched that day. It was sad I couldn't come on, but
oh my goodness! Did you? When I said that, it looked like something must have pushed me. I mean, it was unbelievable the way they pushed back on that. But my thing was, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't believe that these people that are joining Cummings. And like I said, that's my opinion, but I don't believe that they have it within them. From all that I've been reading, that they have it within them to accept a strong-minded individual to join them. Because they from what I'm looking at, and again I could be wrong, but from what I'm looking at, I think if Kumi is not careful, before even the election starts, that he might find himself in a bubble and might not even know or recognize that he's in a bubble.
Is he not already in a bubble?
Well, not yet, because you have people like Jonathan that are still fighting.
Yeah, you think so though? Because I'll let you land, but if you compare the Cummings of less than a year ago to the Cummings of less than 3 weeks ago before the list came out, this is a Cummings that did not hesitate to ask for the resignation of his chief of staff because of a published book based on incredible interview that the man had. I'm talking about. He interviewed people and he quoted people in the book. And Alexander Cummings, because of the uproar, immediately asked for the resignation of his chief of staff. Based on a book that the man published, he was relaying eyewitness accounts. You and I, we in this country, we know what those are, right? And Cummings, because he was raising the bar and said he's different, which I like, asked immediately for Ava to resign. Now compare that Cummings, who's asking for somebody to resign on a research dossier, coming back to appoint a general chief to be his defense strategist at the kitchen table. And you're telling me the man already not in the bubble? That man already deep in the bubble, man.
Well, I mean, then that's very sad if that's the case. That will be, because I truly believe that that if Kumi, if left alone to do his thing, I think Kumi have the ability to turn our country around.
Yes, I agree.
And have the ability to put to check a mini high rise or high intellectual corrupt behavior. I think Kumi, and when I say intellectual, I mean those who are educated, sophisticated, and able to manipulate the system through the corrupt behavior. Those people, I think Kumi will be the match. Now, in terms of corruption at the lower level, police taking a hand out in the street and going, if they arrest people, if somebody gives them something, that kinds of stuff is going to be difficult because that has permeated the entire society. So that's the kinds of stuff that, but once they see at the top that these big sharks themselves are being thrown into jail why waiting trial and what have you. I think people will catch up with that very quickly. But the people that are around him now, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And that's what I thought. If you have Cummings along with Gonglo teaming up with Dr. Bakai, I think those two gentlemen will not allow any kinds of rotten apple to enter into Bakai's circle. I think they would have been able to resist that. But and here's the thing that I believe: those that are around Cummings now will not even allow that kinds of conversation to take place. They would rather stay alone and fight their battle, and then when they win, then they say, where were you? That's the kind of question they will be asking.
So the first thing is, I mean, Dr. Bwaka already has been in a cocoon. He's not even a bubble. He's in a cocoon. He's like, you know how the baboon worm, the beetle goes in there and it shuts down before it changes. That's what, you know, or like the butterfly and the caterpillar. That's what Dr. Bwaka is. He can't even recognize who he is right now, because he has the likes of. There's a bunch of people built around him that's just toxic, and he doesn't see. I don't even think that the Bwaka can see his own hands. You know, when you show his own palm. I mean, because he's so inoculated right now. But to speak on the Cummings issue, Cummings has been out there every time. One of his greatest quotes that I like is to say, he speaks about somewhat you know, what you can tell, and I'm paraphrasing, you can tell what a future is going to be by what is happening in the current. So current behavior would tell you what a future behavior will be, to paraphrase that. But he's been on the forefront asking for war and economic crimes. Yet he decides to go for a general chick. And then he goes for a Julia Duncan Cassell, who was kind of gifted a gender ministry. And we all know how much corruption went in there. She even ran for Grand Ambassador representative position and was rejected, just like the Daniel chick. Right. And so I don't know if you watch what happened in Canada, it was really sad. And again, I keep saying over and over that I like Cummings as a person. I like Cummings for what he stood for. But he keeps changing so much that some of us can't even recognize him anymore. In Canada, somebody asked him this question about Daniel Chiet. And Cummings now, because he's listening to his handlers, try to deceive people like we're a bunch of idiots. He said that just because he named somebody to his campaign team, he said people can endorse me, it doesn't mean that they will be on my cabinet. Yeah, that's fine. We are all in America. An endorsement is different from somebody on your campaign team. You see, Daniel Chair coming out to endorse Alexander Cummings would not have been a big issue. Daniel Chair is a Liberian. Daniel Chair has the right to endorse, and the candidate have the right to say, no, I accept or I reject. But when you name that person to your advisory council, now that tells us that you believe that there is a meeting of the mind between you and that person, like Ambassador Louis Brown said. So then the question is, where are the minds of Cummings and Chair intersecting? Where's that intersection? Because I want to know so I can explore what's in that intersection. Right. And so for Alexander Cummings to have stood amongst Liberians to try to make it look like we are all idiots, we don't understand the difference between a political endorsement and being on a political campaign was sad. But you could tell that he was not comfortable with that explanation. That was something that people have given him, that people, a handler had fed him. And so Cummings needs to find himself. If he really wants to have a broad-based, bigger tent, it's okay. You can have everybody under the tent. But what role are they playing? Because when you elevate the likes of General Chair, you are telling us what your mentality is, what the political ideology is going to be. Remember when George Weah went for presidency, when the CDC used to parade around with a bunch of when they used to parade around with casket, and because we're asking for a war crime court. And then all it took was for General Johnson Prince Johnson to endorse George Weah, and for the likes of General Powers to come around, and now George Weah wins, and you say, well, you know, we are just one family, we ain't getting no money for a war crime court. You didn't know that when you carry caskets around for 12 years. We already seeing that right now. So a predictor of future behavior, like Comey say, is what is happening right now. We already seeing him right now piling around with the likes of General Chair. We can already tell that he's going to give us the same excuse when it comes to war crimes court. How is he going to go after General Chair when you've already used him at your kitchen cabinet table to lay out your defense posture? How are you going to do that? But he tried, and I saw his body language. And for me, when somebody speak, I look at you, I listen to you, I look at your body language. You could tell that Cummings was not comfortable with that, with what he gave up. But it was really sad that he even had to say that. That was sad.
I see. Well, okay, folks. Again, Samson told LIBERIA Pop Radio sitting here this evening with me, Sisse Goyer, who is one of the best Liberian young mind here in the United States. Who is also has helped many in terms of his community involvement, and so he's not just speaking about it; he's talking and walking and doing whatever paraphrase you want to use. He's part of it. So, sister, let's go back to some of the thing front page Africa. Let go through the stuff one by one. One of them that caught my eyes this morning was the one where they say election most likely might be delayed because of machine or what have you. And interestingly, those the company that were going to be hired, thought they were going to be hired by the election commission, who have flunked the re-demonstration, whatever you want to call it, and they're now suing. They're now going to Supreme Court. But I want you to, I know you most likely read that, but I want you to see, is it possible to have a delay in this upcoming election?
Well,
and if so, what would that look like?
It would not be constitutional. So are we going to suspend the Constitution to have a special election? That would be a problem.
But let me ask you this: if the machine or if the election commissioner is not prepared to carry out the function based on the Constitution, how do you resolve that?
But the fact that you're even asking that question speaks volume to the need to change this government and everything that comes with it. Why would an election commission of a republic, mind you, we're not talking Lofa County Association Election Commission. We're not talking Organization of Librarians in Minnesota. We're not talking Grand Jury Association in America. We're talking the Republic of Liberia, Africa's oldest independent republic, the second oldest independent republic on earth next to Haiti. We are talking peace citizens, and you're telling me that that republic is unable to carry out an election because of, not that we have war, not that we have a huge pandemic, but because a group of people could not just decide who to give a credible contract to. You see, that is very, very sad. But I will tell you this, though. That is not the only thing that is creating a constitutional crisis when it comes to the holding of free, fair, and credible elections in Liberia come 2023. You've been watching Legis. We have not even had a census yet. And you're supposed to use the census, Mr. Todd, to determine legislative districts.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to elections without being legally and constitutionally capable and able to determine legislative districts? They are supposed to redraw the maps based on the shift in population. That's why you have these 10 every 10 years in Liberia legis stuff going on. They haven't even done that. And so that already is a major violation of the Constitution. So if I were a representative in one of those districts, I could legitimately go to court and sue and say that my district is not what it is right now. It's not what it ought to be. It's not what it is right now because there's no census. So it is mind-boggling. Are we going to go back to ECOWAS when we had to suspend our constitution and have that special election? Remember the representative, the election that brought Tito to power? It was a special election where people had, seats apportioned to them. Because that's the only way you have to suspend the constitution. Anything other than that, if the current government decides to delay the elections, they will be in violation, in gross violation of the constitution. You can't do that. So my thing is, they need to, whatever they need to do, they got to do it. They got to double their efforts, get legislators to do their constitutional duty, and make sure the elections commissions can hold elections. But if you even look at the timetable, this is where I keep saying, people are educated, but they're not smart. The Election Commission put out a timetable for campaigning. And you saw how they shrunk the timetable for campaign. Have you had one major political party vehemently and intentionally come out after that? No. They will wait until they lose to Dr. George Weah, and then they will come back and complain that George Weah rigged the system. Somebody is telling you in the middle of rainy season that we are cutting down the time it takes for you to campaign, knowing how long it takes you to travel from Monrovia to Cape Palmas and back. But they're not complaining about that. They're not going to courts for that. They're going to wait until they lose elections, and then they're going to come back and try to complain that George Weah rigged the election. So people are educated in the opposition bloc, but I don't think they're being smart at all, because the legislative issue should be something people should be talking about right now, but they're not talking about it. They're ignorant.
You think it has to do with the fact that they are not together, and as a result, they do not seek a common interest aligned with each other? Perhaps they might think, well, if I bring this up, that might help this guy, and I'm not in the business of helping people who are not in line with me. You think that might be the discussion, or they simply just, I'm not going to say that they're ignoring it, because the point you're making is quite correct. Because if you don't say anything now, and then you come back to say the election was rigged, you're fooling yourself. Nobody will listen to you. The international community will not listen to you. And so I'm asking you, does it have to do with the fact that they are not together as a collaborating political parties?
But Mr. Toh, I think this is where, if people really understood what a political party ought to do from a social quasi-political club, then you don't need to be in agreement on our political candidates for me to say what is wrong in our political dispensation. Sadly, we got political clubs. We don't have political parties in Liberia. And I'm saying that because I don't belong to a political party. Because the Alternative National Congress, the Unity Party, the Liberian People's Party, all of the other people's parties, they, at the party level, you can have a constructive dialogue at the party level without waiting for the candidate, the presidential candidate to speak. As a matter of fact, if political parties are really set out the way they ought to be, then the candidate is not the one to always be speaking on those issues, because those are structural issues. If you think about it, at the neck does not have a relationship, a transactional relationship with Alexander Cummings or with Tewan Gonglo or with Joseph Boakai or with Josh Weah. They have
Dr. Boakai, to you, please.
Sorry, Uncle Boakai. They have a political dealing with the Unity Party. They have a political dealing with the Liberian People's Party and the Alternative National Congress. So at the party level, structural issues ought to be addressed. what is stopping the ANC and the UP and the LPP and everybody else from engaging NEC and pushing back on NEC about the time frame that is given and going to court to ask the Supreme Court to force the government to fund ledges and mandate ledges to fast track their process? Because Arizona Commission does not have a standing to go to court on that. Tewan Gonglo does not have a standing to go to court on that. The political parties that are registered with the National Elections Commission ought to be the ones doing their work. But because in Liberia we don't have political parties, we got political
But then
parties.
let me hold you there then. If your statement you're making, which is true, I agree with it. But then what happened to the leaders themselves? Knowing full well that you're not gonna have Jonathan, who is the steward of ANC, having this kinds of mindset, like you just explained, to now go to court on his own. I believe the leadership of ANC and those, even the leadership from Gonglo would then say, okay, well, we cannot go to court, but that doesn't mean we cannot support or bring up ideas or have some sort of a committee that will be formed from each of these political parties. And let's meet. We're not going to talk about collaboration, that's fine, but let's meet and discuss and then see how best to have this thing addressed. Because to have 1 month I think what I suspect is going to happen is that they're going to say no. At the end, they're going to violate the rules but again, and then you're going to see that's when the Supreme Court issue is going to come in, because each of these people, I believe, they're not saying anything right now, but once the rule is set, they will say no, we're not going to abide by that, and then they will be suspended or they will be stopped or have the Supreme Court to get involved. And once you accept the ruling from the National Election Commission, and then they open up the campaigning season, and you accept the opening of that campaign season, you have already accepted everything that comes with that opening process, including the 1 month. So for you now to come by and say, I'm not going to abide by that 1 month, you accept everything else, you're not going to accept this. This is the time now to get involved. And I think the National Election Commission themselves, they're not doing Liberians a favor either. This is such an important issue. I think you need to bring all of the stakeholders on board and have these discussions. Having the discussion with them does not mean, for me, it doesn't mean that the Election Commission is trying to be in bed with the opposition. It just means we want to find a way where the election will happen peacefully. You know, I mean, this is our country. This is not something that we're going to have to borrow. Say, for example, we're borrowing people from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Sierra Leone, from Guinea to come and help us. Then you can say, well, these people, they are stringent, so they don't want to mingle themselves with us. So people will not say they're in favor of X, Y, and Z. But you, as a Liberian, first thing, and as an election commissioner, if you get all of the stakeholders, including the leading or the ruling party, the CDC, you have everybody on board, and let's hear what is your rationale behind this 1 month, and see if everybody will be on board with you, because you are only serving these people. These are your clients. I mean, I could be wrong, but these are the clients for the Election Commission, because without them, you're nowhere. Without the political party getting involved, you're nowhere. So you have to make sure that your client understands what you're doing and they are on board with you. But that's not happening.
But Mr. Toh, there is I get that part. But if Mohammed cannot go to the mountain, then the mountain got to come to Mohammed. I'm saying this to say that there are elected officials with oversight responsibilities of the Election Commission. And all of those that are charged with their oversight responsibility do not all belong to the ruling party. Some of them come from the opposition bloc, opposition political parties, that, mind you, will be handicapped by the shortened electioneering period. Dr. Weir is already out campaigning. Everywhere he goes, he says, oh, the people say, oh, now you let me. when Magellan started the Farino Bene before Res Bene got there was campaign. So Dr. George Weah or the incumbent does not need that as much time as the opposition party to campaign. Nowhere in any elections do you think the ruling party needs as much time. They already got free airtime. Anytime George Weah speaks, is free airtime for him. Whether it's in the church, whether it's he releasing a music video, or whether is he giving a serious policy speech, it's free airtime, it's free campaign time for him. The opposition political parties have to go to fight for their same time. And so when they cannot even cite the election commissions, they control the budget, especially the House of Representatives that controls the purse strings by constitution. They control the purse. The spending ability of the republic is in the hands of the House of Representatives. When they cannot even call those people that they give them, it's just like my child in my house, and I'm buying t-shirt for them, I'm buying jeans for them, and they tear to the knee, and I can't ask them why they're buying. I can't try to wear tear to the knee, but I still giving them the money. And so there are people that need to take this thing very seriously. Call the election commission and ask them what is the rationale, because you don't know. It might be because of budgetary restrictions that they're doing this. So you call them and you ask, right? You saw on the last time when they were talking about this rice issue, a representative came out and said, "Oh, the money, the subsidy, not all have been given out, even though people say it's been given out." So you never know. Maybe the election commission is facing the same problem. But until you call these people to account, they're not doing it. And mind you, those guidelines came up a long time ago. The election commission put those out a long time ago to allow for political parties to push back and challenge them. But if they don't do it and they wait till they go through, they participate in the process, and then they lose an election to George Weah and the CDC and come back to complain that it's unfair, it will be the same thing that happened to the United Party in Lofa County. Remember, they came out and said, "Oh, when the people did a photo roll and they did a replacement of voter registration card, they did it only in 2 districts that were predominantly districts that belonged to the now elected senator." And they didn't complain about it. That wasn't done in Zaza district and other places that they felt they had. There was a stronghold of Kalakpa Kotimai. It's going to be the same thing that happened. If you cannot now push back and try to make sure that you exhaust every legal remedy that is within your grasp to ensure that this thing is set up in the right way. Once you participate in it, you cannot come back now and say, "George, we are cheated." I, for one, will be one person to say that nonsense. I will support the outcome because you supported the process. So now the outcome, you got to support it. You got to accept the outcome. And that's a big problem having. And again, like I keep saying, this does not require people calling each other. This only requires people knowing what their roles are as party chairmen and chairwomen. If you are the chair of a political party, you have a standing to challenge the electoral guidelines, and you have a standing to go to the neck and seek redress. And where you think your redress has not been, that it gives you is not appropriate, then you go through the court system. That should not be on the head of Azana Cummings or on Dr. Buakai or on Councillor Gonglo or on maybe even Cassell later on when he come from jail, right? It should not be on any of those people.
Again, folks, Samson to Libera Public Radio. I'm here again with Sister Goya. We're just having some free conversation here. It's free to anybody who wants to listen. So, Sister, let me ask you. Let's jump off this, and we'll come back to this here. But let's just go all around here this evening. Just I've been reading here today. The World Bank has signed and agreed to give Liberia another $106 million for business, for developmental purposes. Now, you know, when I was in Liberia, during the engineering, Liberian Engineering Association convention in Banga, they have the German project manager was there. They have African Development Bank people there. So I decided to interview, and I'll play that one day because I still have the tape. I decided to interview the German project manager. because they get a lot of money coming into that country. So I asked him, I said, knowing full well, I know you're not, this is nothing secret here, but you know that there's so much kickback in this place. And the money you're bringing in, knowing that these people are corrupt, and you're still bringing money in here. Are you not part of the process? Are you not contributing to the corrupt behavior? He started laughing. You know what he told me? Seriously, the German, and I will play that interview because I have it on tape. He started laughing. He said, look, one thing I will advise you, I can't speak to that. My job is to manage project, is to make sure project get done. The money that comes in, if you want to speak to that, come to the embassy and I will take you directed to the ambassador. Because some of us ask these questions, but we're very careful because we want to work. We like our jobs. You know, he was saying that. So I think that everybody is quite aware. You have the government of Liberia. Within the last 2 months, the chief of staff of the government of the Republic of Liberia was sanctioned. Those who were responsible, the Freeport person, Big Shot, was sanctioned for snatching money from one point to another for their own benefit. And you going now, you're giving the government of the Republic of Liberia another $106 million for developmental purpose. What is the yardstick these people are using? For me, I will accuse them of in fact, continue to make our people to suffer. They give these money and they don't come back to hold these people to account. I don't see any kind of accountability. You got a $25 million map out. We got nothing out of it. And these people keep bringing money into that country. You have a $116 million Rawafi Highway project that is going nowhere, and nobody's accounting for that. And now you're coming to give these people another $106 million. These are the people a few months ago, a few weeks ago, a few days ago, were not able to get rice in the country. We're not able to pay importers. They're still owing importers, according to report. And you're giving this amount of money today. What exactly are you as a World Bank? What is it? What is it you're doing? But my theory, before I let you come in, is this: that they could have done more. $106 million. They could have gone half a billion dollars. But it seemed to be that they are just giving them the minimum so they don't start trouble in our country, so they don't start trouble in our region. So we just give you the little bit so your people can eat, but we're not doing more. So I'm conflicting myself. You see, I'm talking both sides of my mouth right now. But that's how confusing this whole thing is. But I want you to speak to that, Sissy. I mean, what is your thinking on that?
So the World Bank gives money, and sometimes they restrict a lot more stringent what their money can be used for. So the World Bank still gives money to Iran. The World Bank was still giving money to Afghanistan when we were hunting bin Laden for the implementation of women's access to education in Afghanistan, even when they were sanctioned. And so I don't see this as an endorsement of the George Weah government that the World Bank is giving money. You have to look, and one of the good things that the George Weah government is good at, love them or hate them, is they're good at saying nothing and trying to say a whole lot. So they don't say what the money was given for and what the restrictions are. They show you a picture of Samuel Toy and a delegation holding something and signing and say, this is how much money we got. But what were the limitations? How much money did other countries in that same thing for that same reason get? Because when you start to do the analysis, then you will start to see what exactly is happening. There is no way the World Bank is just going to say we can get $1 to this. Even charge to the government in Liberia receive money from the World Bank. So there are projects that the World Bank carry out for so many reasons. So, for example, if the World Bank is trying to deal with hunger, and the nations that make the most contributions to the World Bank, like the United States and France and all these other places, are looking at global hunger as an issue, then yes, they're going to give money to fight childhood hunger in Liberia. Doesn't necessarily mean that they think the George Weah government, they think anything better of the George Weah government or of any government for that matter. They're giving the money for specific purposes. And so we have to be very careful on how we look at that, right? They might not be giving money anymore to the George Weah government to prop up civil service pay. They might also do it just to make sure that they don't want the common people to go to bed hungry. And so we will give you money to prop up civil service pay, or like they did in the Maldives, what they did was they gave them money to prop up broadband access, right? And so we have to be extra careful and read between the lines on what the money is given for. But sadly, though, the CDC group will say, "Oh, any podcast in United States sanction, World Bank, you get all money. What they get the money for? What's the restriction on that?" They never talk about the restrictions on it. And so for me, when I see the World Bank giving money to third world countries and to pariah states and failed states, I like to read why the money was given and what is the intent. Because sometimes it might just be, rice is not available on the market, and our people are starving, and the World Bank is trying to subsidize that. Or
and that's exactly that was some of the things.
It could be any of those things.
Yes. So yeah, well, I'm also on board with that. I think so. But the fact CDC, they're not going to tell you. They'll just say, "Oh, no."
People do your homework for you, Mr. To. When I'm saying, I can tell you.
And this is intellectual dishonesty at the heights, But what do you expect out of CDC? That's who they are. They will not give you any information that is to be consumed by our people.
But to be fair, though, would any other government do that, though? Would I give you an ammunition to shoot me, Mr. To, really?
I think unless the government is inept, as this one is, but I think the like of Bakay or even Donglo or even Cummings, if they were in this position, knowing the level of education and knowing the level of understanding of running government, I think they would do better to come and explain not only to the Liberian people, but to also explain that explanation goes deep into those who are contributing, those who are the partner of the World Bank, those who have their money in World Bank and agree for World Bank to give X, Y, and Z. So if you receive and you say, yes, I got this money, but here are the restriction or here are the condition, you are also putting World Bank and his people and their people on the same footing to say World Bank is doing exactly what they told us they were going to do. Other than that, the World Bank say we're going to get Liberia money, but these are the conditions. So it's between the contributors, the partners of World Bank and World Bank itself. So Liberia now, I think, should have come out to explain, not necessarily giving into the opposition or what have you, but the money is coming in, number one. And the second thing is, you as a government, you get these kinds of huge sums of money. How are you going to distribute? And by you coming out to say these are the restrictions, you also now help to alleviate some of the expectation from the Liberians, those who are friends with you. Oh, they got economy. I think we'll get something here. The county officials, the capital building, those who want brown envelope. If you come out and explain to them, giving them the reason and the restriction behind it, that will automatically and immediately put stop for their intervention, so to speak, to say, we want to intervene. Y'all come, let's talk. You know what I'm saying? But by you being quiet, you are now opening yourself up for interpretation. The World Bank gave you $106 million. What have you done? And if anything is not done, and you just take that money to patch because you still owe importers and you want to pay them, using some of that money to pay them without telling the Liberian people how the money is going to be utilized, you are now telling us that you have done nothing with the money. So
yeah, but you're
so
striking.
what are men doing in Washington D.C.? Is there meeting with Joe Biden?
I say, Jonathan, the man going to get the man say you don't want wire fraud, so you go and get a cash $300,000.
Wow.
Yeah, the man in DC
Wow,
was getting the money. The man say he want to do wire transfer for the program, put it on sanction list. Saying not coming on with just doing who they do it.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right.
but on a serious note, you're striking a point there, right? I think though, the responsibility is twofold. There's one on the government to explain so that you minimize expectations. Say, look, I know right now rice is short on the market, but this money was not for rice. It was for whatever XYZ it is. And you focus on that and you implement that. You don't do dig hole, cover hole. But when you don't tell people, they end up doing dig hole, cover hole. And then if you do dig hole, cover hole and you don't live up to the spirit and the intent for which the money was given, then next time we get maybe $20 million or we get less than that. Our share of the pie starts to shrink.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we have these buffoons that will continue to stay with to celebrate. Even if we get $1 million from the World Bank, they'll still celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now looking at the percentage drop in our share of the international pie. But the other side of that coin though is on the again, I keep coming back to our own group, to the people that are trying to replace Dr. George Weah. We cannot expect George Weah, CDC, to do our homework and hand it over to us. What is stopping Etienne Gonglo and Alexander Cummings, a former Vice President Joseph Boakai, from reaching out to the World Bank and finding out what the restrictions are? These are public documents. And being able to articulate a public policy speech. Now Cummings has is that 44 people now? You can have a Dr. Toga Gleway McIntosh to give an economic policy speech on that and what the restrictions are and what it will mean. You enlighten the Liberian people, so we start to see day and night between you and the government you're trying to replace. And you're expecting CDC to come and do your homework and hand the people to even to copy the answer on the morning of the day the homework is due, then that's a problem.
And that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point that I was making. The Dr. McIntosh that you're talking about, he's very versed in this area. So this money is not secret. He knows how and where to go to get more information. So you challenge the government. You come out and make these kinds of statements on behalf of ANC. The government just got $106 million. We want to make sure that Liberians understand exactly why this money is here and what the money is supposed to be for. So if the government is not going to do their own due diligence, in other words, to tell the people of Liberia what is happening, you come and do it. This is how you start establishing trust. Yeah. But they're all going to sit down. Everybody's going to sit down. You know, and hoping, and they say they want to run government. Why they're messing it up? That's the country that you're trying to take over. And if you're successful to take the country, you will be digging yourself out of a bigger hole than when you try to fix things right now. So I'm just saying, you know, while we have this thing like this here, another thing here that I want to point out here is this kinds of money. They're silent from the government. You owe people in the country. You owe, I call it importers. Importers, you get that kind of money. They'll say, okay, we want our share. Mm-hmm. And the fact that this money is not for that, and you don't come to make it clear by waiving the contract or the agreement or whatever it is. This is the agreement. It has nothing to do with rice. Because once you do that, the importers now will be sensible enough to not to push their luck. But if you're quiet and not saying anything, and the importer thing you have to pay them, and you don't pay them, they say, okay, right. They take their rice and go sell it to sell you. Yeah. What you do to them? Nothing. Nothing. Your people are going to be hungry. Then you're back to square one because you have $106 million just given to you, and you owe these people and not giving them anything.
Yeah,
And that's the kinds of stuff.
But that's the problem. And you know, on the same token, why, you know, one of the things I'm saying, you know, the intellectual laziness on the part of both the people that are trying to replace the George Weah government and the George Weah government is that nobody ever does comparative analysis, right? You look at why is it that we are so happy with the prevalence of USAID funded projects to individual Liberian businesses and organizations and stuff versus how it used to be back in the day. You will see very few projects that you say is directly funding directly to the contractors. They went mostly through the government of Liberia. And that showed at the time a trust. So the more you have USAID out and having these USAID funded projects that they themselves are directly assessing and implementing and monitoring those projects and paying out directly to the contractors, it speaks to the fact that they don't trust you as a government. But the people come and try to celebrate that. Oh, you got so many USAID projects around. Yeah, it should not be that way. If you look at other countries where you have USAID, a lot of that money goes through the bureaucratic establishments that are there to disburse those money, and the accountability come back from those contractors to the government agencies and sent to USAID because there is this trust. But in Liberia, the trust is eroded so much that you have a prevalence of these USAID direct.
But the government itself and those who are running the government, they're so inept that they don't recognize that USAID is pretty much running quasi-government.
But they celebrate it though. They celebrate it and say, "Oh,
I know. You said the implementation process, all of the documents that are supposed to have been, gone through the Liberian government, where the government hopefully will be able to have some sort of a saying on the implementing process of each of these projects, because the projects are going to be in Liberia. The maintenance of those projects are going to be on Liberians. And so if you have a say in it, you will involve Liberians who would then be able to implement the maintenance process of this project when they are done. But because you're so dense as an individual, you call yourself an educated person, but you're so intellectually dishonest and corrupt that you don't even see those things. The first thing you want is, you say, don't get kicked back. I ain't even going to waste my time with them. Let them go do what they want to do. Yeah, but then when you say it's done with the project, they turn it to you, and now you have to maintain it.
That's why we got schools in those bushes, in those villages that people that the government
and
came
then the
forest and rent it for 2 years and turn it over and nobody can run it.
Nothing there. Well, Sese, I think where you and I will been going at this thing earlier, I know you have a busy day tomorrow ahead of you, so let's just call it quit here right now so that you can prepare yourself, and we wish you good luck. And as an educated person, I mean, we won't find you doing anything else other than this. And that's why you left the palm wine and the palm tree back in Lofa County. You're here in Minnesota. You no palm wine, no palm tree here. You got to go and read to those people tomorrow.
You know what I did? When I came from Liberia with my family in September of this year, we brought country plum. We brought country plum to plant it in my backyard in German plum. And I brought some Liberian almond tree. So I wanted to bring a pawa, a cassava tree root. Seriously, I'm telling you. But I forgot my cassava tree root. I will bring it. I can be playing power tree right in my backyard in Minnesota. They will see me tapping power in Minnesota.
It will not grow. No bamboo worm. What kind of bamboo? You think bamboo? What kind of bamboo worm? What kind of bamboo worm will live in that kind of snow in Minnesota? The bamboo worms, they will want you to buy a blanket for them.
The genetically modified one.
Oh my goodness! But let me put this before you go. Before you go, let's see if we can make a comment about our brother,
Oh,
this here, Doctor George Toto. What do you make of it? What do you think?
so I posted last night on my Facebook page, congratulating Dr. Josh Toto, DNB, Doctor of Business Administration. You know, for some of us who the prevailing statistics was that we couldn't make it out of the village. We weren't going to make it out of the village because, and this is not to preach a class warfare, but it's just to talk about history, and I hope people take it for that. The children of indigenous Liberians who weren't granted access to education as early as the children of the resettled Liberians. The odds were stacked against you obtaining higher education and or excelling to the higher realm, higher echelon of education. And so when I see a brother from Totota, from Bon County, excelling, and you and I know how difficult it is in this country to be an adult educator, an adult learner, rather, going to school and working and maintaining family. This is a huge task, and I am elated. I am so excited to see my brother pull that off because Liberians are a very talented group of people. Liberians are a blessed tribe of people. One nation, very blessed. When we put our mind to doing something, we do it, and we are effective and we are talented at it. And so I was excited last night. Very few instances where I post stuff on my Facebook page like that, and I celebrated my brother because he is certain he's charting a new course, like many other Liberians who have been doing great things. Like I'm looking at even Dr. Nyana right now is in Nima County and he's teaching. So you know, and somebody like you, I said it last time. You know, sometimes we joke around a lot. You know, familiarity in our Liberian gathering brews disrespect. Is Samson to an accomplished civil engineer and an engineer, listening to you talk about road construction, talk about those other things. Those are you all are trailblazers. You are the kind of Liberians that we need to be elevating and highlighting on these platforms so that younger generation of Liberians can stop looking at those charlatans, those buffoons who just come and talk nonsense and they're not about the work, and start to elevate the Samson tools, the Dr. George Tutu, and people who actually have done stuff that we can tell our children, look, see Dr. Toto, see Mr. Engineer Samson too. See these people. See even an accomplished journalist, our own brother So Alfonso So. You know, we can be able to point to those people. And sadly, in our culture, in our community, we tend to elevate the empty drums, the empty vessels more than we do the likes of Dr. Toto or an engineer, Samson Tool, or an accomplished a media practitioner, Mr. So, or even our own brother, Doloke. You know, a very articulate and smart man. So I think we need to be doing it, and I'm happy I came on when you were celebrating my brother. And I want to say, you know, from Lufa County to Bon County, congratulations, my brother. We are all in awe of you. You thank you for raising the flag of Liberia.
Thank you. All right, Sensei, we want to thank you very much for this evening. Please stay safe out there. Then please go get it. And let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Have you gotten to some of these positions in doing your presentation and you look at the people a long time? You say, you know what? I think I will speak my dialect to the people and say, let's see what it will do to me.
So let me tell you one quick story, right? Fresh out of Liberia, I'm at Texas Tech doing electrical engineering. And so our final project was to create an autonomous vehicle that will follow a course. So we take these racing cars that each children use, you solder, you know, a whole plate on the program, you put it in there, and you use the TV remote and you press go, and there is a path. white and black line, and you have these diodes on this vehicle. So it's supposed to read these black and white lines, and it's supposed to follow a slalom course. So we take a whole week. We're building this robot at my house. We were working in a team, and because I live in an apartment at the time, and all of my guys live in the dorm, they said, you know what, you keep it at the house. So I have it on my table one day. My boys come over the day before we were supposed to go present. We're drinking beer at my house. One of my idiot friend spills beer on the board, the motherboard, fries it. Right.
Wow.
So I get to school the next day. We're in the auditorium, and this is Texas Tech. So we have about maybe my graduating class were about 15,000 people. So that tells you how huge the university is, right? So we get there, we're in the auditorium. Groups are presenting, and I told my guys, I'm like, yo, man, our robot don't work. They're like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work. Sorry for the language. So what the hell say it doesn't work? They said, oh, man, we're going to fail. And I said, you know what? Y'all let me do the presentation. They said, what do you mean? I say, y'all don't say anything. Just let me do the presentation. So I have the robot in my hand. So I said, you see the robot here? Eh? When you put it on, you press the button here, it will go around. That blind out it will go all around. It will come back.
The real Liberia English, yo.
So this is Texas, deep down Texas, and my Liberian thing is out. I'm going deep with the Liberian accent. I talk fast like yo. I talk for about 10 minutes without putting the robot down. By the time I put the robot down, the dean of the engineering college, he looks around everybody. Now they all have a problem. If you didn't understand me, you're racist because the black man just put
right.
So he starts to clap. So when the dean starts to clap, the chair of the department claps, everybody starts to clap.
Exactly.
So we got an A on that project. So we leave, we go. The white boys in my group go, hey man, it's easy. We don't understand a damn thing you said. I'm like, just forget it.
Forget it.
It's a damn thing that makes sense. We all got A. So that worked for me back then. But no, now I seriously though, there are certain things I find myself doing. The other day I posted on Facebook, and I know we gotta go. I posted on Facebook missing my mom. My mom passed a few years ago. And I was in the shower, taking a shower, and I just started crying, Mr. Stowe. I cried like a baby. I cried. Because the night before, I and an Asian lady, a Hmong lady, and 2 immigrants were presenting the math standards to the Commission of Educators in Liberia, in Minnesota, educational commissioners. So like the equivalence of the Minister of Education, the deputy, and all of the principal deputies. And there were 2 immigrants making their presentation. And I was the African. And I'm talking about for the next 15 years in the state of Minnesota, any math that a child learned from kindergarten to 12th grade and college will have my DNA, my fingerprint on it. And we get done, and the commissioner, a white woman, says, God, Mr. CZ, you are very smart. That was our language. That broke me. That broke me. Because I'm here thinking, where is my mom? My mom had me when she was a teenager. She dropped out of school, didn't go to school, sacrificed her education for me. So to be at that table, Mr. Toe, where I'm speaking and people are listening to every verb and every word that I drop, and they are listening and mesmerized. But my mom was not around to see that.
Right.
And so tomorrow, again, like right now, we're going to be rewriting. I'm on the committee. I'm actually leading the committee to write a new state aptitude test, like the WIAC. Minnesota version is called the MCA, Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, the math portion. I'm leading that tomorrow. We're writing that. My mom is not here to see that. My dad is here. He loves me. He's in Texas. He calls every time he celebrates. But he is an engineer. He managed to go on with his life. My mom was never able to leave after she had me to go back to school. an indigenous woman, and by Western standard, an illiterate, uneducated woman. And so when you ask that question, the reason I keep pushing myself, I keep reimagining these tables. I keep coming to these tables and bringing my 100% LIB to it. When I show up tomorrow, Mr. To, I'm going to be wearing the seal of the Republic of Liberia. I always have it on my neck when I show up. Because, but for posterity, some of us with the name of Size Gidoba Goya from Lofa County should not be here. So you asked that question, I know you asked in an innocent way, but it is a heavy question. And that's why I leave my family tonight. I'm in a hotel and I'm getting ready tomorrow to present, to lead a group of mathematicians from university professors all the way down to kindergarten math teachers. I'm leading them. And they respect me and they understand my intellect. So Liberia, like I go back to say when we're talking about George Toto, we are a very talented group of people. And I'll be hoping tomorrow my ancestors will be watching again and we'll be leading that fight and we'll be pushing, because we got to let people know, man, when you come from the 231, you are gifted, you're talented. I mean, you're right there, Mr. To. So we know what we're talking about.
Well, it's a mouthful. Thank you. And please, I know you will do us proud again tomorrow as usual. And these are the kinds of stuff I know we're way past the time, but I just have to make this statement. These are things our brothers and sisters don't understand, and they fool around until when you get to a certain age now, then it's, oh, you can come. By the time you get to Liberia, all of the energy have already gone. You are unable to hold up a whole night worth of conversation on how to move things forward. It's not about the money that we always talk about, but if you, and not one single Liberian who is listening to me now or listening to us that have gone through school, you don't have to be in a technical area. Any kinds of learning experience you have, I'm not even going to say definitely there's a certain time in your life as a learner that you come across something and you say within yourself, this thing can improve the lives of people back home. It doesn't matter, engineering, lawyering, whatever, because that's how we are. We always want good things for our country. But our leaders don't even look at us. If this guy, and I don't mean for us to relitigate the issue, but I'm just, the comment you may hear about your mom, it's something that is, and this is also pushing me a lot. When I beg these political leaders from Grand Gita for me to help them, it's not the matter of paying me. They don't have the money to pay me. But the fact that I want to do something, so they will say, oh, that Merito son, people who are still alive, that watched me growing up, how much struggle my mom had with me as well, so that I can go back and do something. I can sit here. Today's Friday. I'm not going to work tomorrow. I'll do whatever I want to do. I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
Tomorrow included.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not the matter of me saying, I'm going back. I want to do this because I want money. But these people back home, for some reason, they don't see it. Why can't they have you to have some sort of an understanding? Every 6 months, come and reevaluate our educational materials we have in this country. We'll pay your way. We'll give you, and most likely you'll say, no, I don't need that. I got food. I got my town. I can hustle. I will eat. I can find a place to sleep. So if you pay my way, I just want to be invited so that you will have a stake in what I'm doing. But they're not going to do that. If you don't sing praises to them, they don't want to talk to you. There's an incident here that happened here the last time. And somebody said it here. I'm not going to call name, but there was a certain government official that came here in the state with Dr. Weir, and people were asking for certain thing,
Yeah.
and he was not ready to give that. But instead to say, let's do it another time, it became argumentative. I mean, arguing and what have you and things like that. And somebody recognized quickly. And that person is upset with those who were pushing this government official to do that kinds of stuff. So what are you trying to do? To embarrass this person? Why bring this person in public when you know this person is not capable of expressing himself publicly?
Yep.
So because you asking him to come and talk of things that he has no knowledge of, and you call yourself an educated person, and you're bringing somebody who was elected by your brothers and sisters, and you're trying to embarrass that person. I never thought of it like that, but when that person said that, I'm like, okay, I think you're right. And this is exactly what we are, Cece. So I want to, please go ahead and show them the Lufa way tomorrow.
We're going to show the LIB. And the last thing, the last time when I was at the MAP Standard Committee stuff, when they gave me my stipend, I actually donated it to an orphanage in Liberia. On this trip, I only told them the only thing they got to pay for is my hotel and food. I don't get any money from that. Just like I offer to my country, just pay my way, and I'll come and give you, because I don't consider myself to be smart, but whatever God has blessed me with is for a reason, and I don't have to charge people for that. So even in this America, I told the people, only thing I got to do, pay for my hotel and pay for my food that I eat. That's it. The last time when I went to the other stuff, they gave me $300 in stipends. I told them I didn't want it. I took it and gave it right away to an orphanage in Liberia, because I don't feel like that is for me. When I go to work and teach, what I earn is what my family and not supposed to live on. Anything else I get outside of there, I believe does not belong to me. And if I take it, I'll be stealing. So I give it to non-profits in Liberia.
I think go to me, I was steal. I go to Liberia myself, I was steal too. Everybody's stealing Liberia. Why I can't go steal? I'll go steal. By the way, thank you, my brother.
But to be very frank, and I'll close on this. You, my friend, I hold you in very high regards. I've seen you talk about when you started talking about the RIA highway, and then I followed you when you went live that one day on the highway, and you're talking about that construction. I've seen those schools a lot on the highway. As an engineer, they've meant nothing to me, because my thing is electrical engineering and math. They have meant, it's just been a nuisance. I go, why the hell they got this nonsense all along this place here? But when you started to talk about it, I've got educated. Now when I'm driving in construction zone, I find myself talking to my wife about what those schools are there for. And it's not because I paid tuition, because I learned from free at your table. So just wanted to put it out there that,
Thank you. And we'll continue to do that. We just want the right situation to die down, and then we will come back with the role. There's a lot of things here. I think
in Miami, don't do that thing, baby. The profit bring blended rice. Don't talk about the rice blending again. Yeah. Let me go get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, sister. Thank you, and we'll say good night to you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Again, folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public, I want to thank all of you again tonight. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Mr. So is not here. He's on assignment, and he will be here on Sunday. His guest will be the legendary Kai Blair, going to be here on Mr. So's show, and they're going to have some serious and interesting conversation. And I know you will enjoy it. So please tune in Sunday afternoon for a wonderful, wonderful show. Other than that, we'll say good night to you. Please, please, please stay safe. Don't drink and drive. In this country, you make one mistake in terms of law, it stay with you for 10 years. I know so. I know so. You make one mistake, it stay with you for 10 years. So you don't want to do that unless you leave and go back to Liberia. But anybody that get in trouble, and you get in trouble here, even if it's just miscellaneous, whatever they call it, it stays with you for 10 years. And if you have to go to jail, double that. And once if you start looking for a job, they go digging inside. Drunk driving. In fact, right now where I work in Caltrain, they have safety. Oops. Oh yeah, not next week. Safety program that we go to. And the last one we had was drunk driving, where you saw some nasty accident. Why will you allow liquor to control you like that? If you want to drink, go and buy yourself a liquor and go in your house, in your room, and turn LIBERIA Public Radio on. Start having some serious argument with Mr. Toa. Because Mr. Toa will come and talk some ridiculous thing. Dr. Baka, Dr. Wea, and you know the people ain't got no PhD. Then you say, Mr. Toa, what a PhD you got? Because you're drunk now, but you are your home. If you mean and if you need to go out to drink, this is what you need to do. Why not advise against it? But if you must, when you're going out tonight, take $30 in your pocket. Take your keys and the $30 and give it to the house owner or the party sponsor, whoever it is that is running that, and say, yeah, you see my eyeball clear right now. You have my $30, you have my keys. Well, I'm going to drink here tonight. But if I'm drunk and I come to you for my keys, don't give it to me. I will cost my cost anything. But you see, do I look like somebody that will cost my cost right now? As intelligent as I am, I love you. And that's why I come to your place for your party, because I respect you. But when I start cussing that liquor talk, so don't give me the money. Don't call Uber for me and let them take me home. And here's my address. And you do that. Or ask the man, say, don't let me out of here. Let me sleep on the floor. It's better to be embarrassed tonight than to go to jail tomorrow. That's not what you come here America for. You come here to come work for law enforcement. You come here to look for money. You're a stranger. Please stay safe. You don't know how much people love you until you get into serious issue. People are counting on you. People are connected with you. Your life, you think is yours, wait till you get in trouble. And other people start crying. Relatives start crying. Your mom not even eating because of what you're doing. Don't drink and drive. This is Samson Toa. I'll say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. Please stay safe. Good Friday to you. My son just came in. Ajibor, good evening. And I'll say thanks for tuning in. But I'll say good night. Good night, folks.
Wakava my baby twambe usunga, wakava kaswiti twambe uwina. Mama meka na kusaku wanyeni maela, mama mekwa umasaku wanyeni mona. Niwa makwetyo samba sange wasiamana, measya tulisoma chinyini nagu. Mateseka na wendo wito ndiwa moja, mateseka na wendo wito ni wakeshua nikolia. Telemaeva ni utongoza, telemaeva uine namba, telemaeva tuichaji ginokalika boksi yawa eka malonze nimeuminya singila singila kandolo kokele kandolo kokele
Abaukabangu tabiende tosimoyo. Abaukabangu tabiende tosilato. Wano wimoyo uira otetanga. Kiteli chaku chawendo ni changwa tisie.